All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for all coming today. I know there's always a lot of questions about U.S. News and World Report. We got a little bit of a surprise just a couple of weeks ago, so we'll kind of update you on where we are and what we need to kind of be doing over the next couple of weeks. What we're going to do today is go through, I'll give you a little bit of a history lesson and the U.S. News and World process. We'll kind of talk about what the history has been and how things have kind of worked with U.S. News since 1993. And then Michelle will go through in detail what you need to do in the CAHME annual report editor, what you need to do in the annual report. And then finally, Banky will come through with some comments from him as the CAHME board chair and, how the board has kind of been involved in this process at this point. So that's going to be the part. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have questions, please put them in the chat right now. That way we'll get a hold of them. We want to go through the whole presentation, which probably will address a lot of your questions. So we don't want to kind of, interrupt in the meantime. So just place them in the chat. And then if we have time at the end, we'll discuss them at that point too. Just as a reminder, CAHME does not and will not seek to influence the methodology of any media organization with regards to rankings. We do provide information to legitimate news media on our publicly available information, but we will not seek to influence the methodology of any ranking organization. Okay, with that, let's go into the history. Back in 1983, it was a very interesting period of time for the publication part because U.S. News and World Report in the early 1980s saw the shrinkage of people reading news magazines. In fact, some of you might remember, a few of you might remember, Life magazine, which had a 100-year history, went out of business. U.S. News came up with this ranking approach for education, and they found that this was a really incredibly valuable thing that its readers liked. And they began doing it in 1983. And then in 1985, they repeated it due to popular demand. In 1987, they published it in the magazine, their rankings of colleges and universities, but they also created a separate publication called America's Best Colleges. And they expanded the list at that point to include research universities, liberal arts colleges, and graduate schools of law, business, medicine, and engineering. They really realized they hit on something big, and they were going to run with it. In the 1990s, they expanded this list to also include graduate programs and a variety of different disciplines within the graduate program spot. And that's where we kind of come in. But before we go into that part, just recently in 2014, well, 10 years ago, they began a best global university kind of focus. Okay, so with regards to healthcare management, the first rankings of graduate healthcare management programs occurred in 1993. And then followed in 97, 2001, 2003, 2007, 12, 16, 19, and the last rankings came out in 2023. We're expecting these rankings to come out in 2025. Since it began, U.S. News, in their approach with health graduate education programs, health, not just health management, but health, is they focus on only those programs that are accredited by specialized accreditors. So some of you are going, why did CAHME get involved in this? What's CAHME's role? It was U.S. News going, who's the accreditor for healthcare management programs? And it was AKISA, and then it became CAHME. If it were public health programs, it was CEF. And occupational therapy and the rest, also they went with specialized accreditors. With the health schools, here's the list of the entire groups of health schools that they accredit or that they rank. So you see audiology, clinical psychology, health management, anesthesia, etc. And you can kind of read through the list as you kind of see it in there. So The interesting part around this is compared to the statistical detail that they use with their other university rankings. And some of you know that there's certain law schools that didn't provide information to US News, and there's certain schools that kind of dropped out entirely. Those were schools that US News asked for additional information. Compared to that, with these specialty rankings, they just scrape from the web publicly available information. So they're not looking for the schools to provide any other additional information. So they would just go on to CAHME's information sources or AKISA's, and they would just take the AKISA accredited programs. And it's just a simple peer assessment process they use. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. The methodology is simple. They take 2 contacts at each universities, and they ask them to rate the universities in the disciplines. Again, not just, in this case, health management, but this is the same approach they use for public health and others as well. They limit programs only to a specialized accreditor. They calculate a composite score based on the ratings, and then they use that composite score to create a ranking. The US News and World Report methodology acknowledges its limitations. And in fact, what they even say right within their methodology part to any student or anybody looking at it, a school's rank should be one consideration, not the lone determinant in where a student applies. The rankings reflect the peer assessment of academic quality, but other considerations involving location, environment, strength of different fields, cost, financial aid, job placement are also very important. So US News knows that there's limitations in their approach, but they also know that a lot of people read through these lists and access these lists. When you look at the other specialized health programs that are out there, you can see the response rate that US News receives when they survey 2 people from each of those programs. So this is the response rate. So psychology is somewhere around 18%, and it goes up to pharmacy, which is in the mid 60s. And then you can see health management. And last time for the 2023, 83% of all of the contacts that were surveyed responded to the US News and World requests in terms of the best healthcare management education programs, 83%. So why are we so much higher? Well, we work with you to determine who those contacts are. And that's not universal. When you look at the other specialties that are out here, pharmacy provides 2 contacts, occupational therapy provides 2 contacts, social work provides 2 contacts, public health used to provide 2 contacts, and they went through that process of gathering the second contact. However, what public health got was a lot of angst from the programs that it worked with, and there was a lot of work going on to it. So public health just basically had said, CEF said, hey, look, we're going to give you our schools, we'll give you the 1 contact, but that's it. That's all we're doing. CAHME's chosen to take a different approach, and the approach is similar to pharmacy and the others. And we try to make sure that they have a good secondary contact. Now, why? Why do we do that? We do that for you. We do that to make sure that you are well represented. How do they get the second contact if we don't give them to, or these other programs? How do they get that second contact or even the primary contact? They basically look at websites and pull names. That's it. They basically look at websites and pull names. So you're able to tell us who you want the secondary contact is a good way to help you to make sure that you're well represented. The survey is very simple from US News and World Report. They basically say, rate the universities, and they begin with the states that are listed in alphabetical order, and they ask the universities to rate, they ask the contacts to rate the universities on a scale of 1 to 5. Outstanding, strong, good, adequate, marginal, or no answer. I don't know anything about the program. And you're asked to rate them. And that's the simple part of it. They go through each of the 90-some universities that are listed in there, and then you verify your submission information. That's the extent of which your participation is if you're one of the contacts. Okay, so that's just the history and the process of US News. Where are we now? So that might have been a little bit of a repeat for a lot of people who are involved in this process, but where are we now? Well, on August 5th, we were notified by Bob Morsey. And for those of you who kind of follow US News and the rankings, Bob is the guy. He's the chief data strategist for US News on health, on all university rankings. Bob sent me an email and said, Anthony, there's a huge popular demand. It's one of the areas that's most visited and downloaded on our website. And we made an editorial decision to create an annual listing of the best graduate programs. Now, I want you to make sure you listen to what I said. US News made the editorial decision to do this annually. US News made the editorial decision to do this annually, not CAHME. This was a US News decision. So they notified us on August 5th. On August 12th, well, actually, shortly after August 5th, I notified the board that this was a decision that was made by US News. And then we began to develop the communication materials to send around to you. And by August 12th, 1 week after being notified, we got all the materials to you about this new approach for US News. August 19th, we sent a second reminder to program directors, and August 23rd is this information session. So this is where we are right now at this point. This gives us very little time because US News gave us a deadline, and they said, you have to give to us, Anthony, the contact information and the universities that are accredited by September 6th. And we tried to push back on them a little bit. I really don't have a lot of flux in that area. By September 11th, Michelle will read through your information and we will download it and send it off to US News and World Report. In December, we're expecting, and we're not sure of this because they didn't tell us their deadlines and where they're moving forward. But if we look at what happened last time this occurred, we gave them the data and we gave them the programs around the same time. In December is when they began their survey process. I don't know. CAHME does not know for sure. They might choose to go forward in October or November. I'm just not sure. They don't tell us what they're going to do with the process in there. And then again, taking prelude, past this prelude, last time they did this with this particular timing, the released rankings went out in September, or in the spring of 2025. Again, I'm not sure. So there's no guarantee that that will be the time frame. But again, if past for prelude, this is what happened. So just to kind of repeat, what CAHME will do, we will cooperate with legitimate members of the press and the news media. And we do this for, the Washington Post. We do it for Modern Healthcare. We do it for US News. We do it for HFMA's journal. We do it with all legitimate members of the press and news media. We will clarify information to US News. We will explain our data gathering approach to you, to US News and the media, and to any interested party that would like to know. It's again out there on our website what we'll be doing. And we will ensure that programs identified as CAHME accredited are CAHME accredited. US News on their source note says the source of this data is CAHME accredited schools, and the list. In the past, again, probably over 10 years ago, prior to me getting there, some schools crept onto that list that were not CAHME accredited. Under my watch, when we first started doing this in 2017, 18, we made sure that non-accredited programs were off the list. Again, we have to do that with what CHIA requires of us. We have to make sure that programs that are defined as CAHME accredited programs are truly CAHME accredited programs. What we won't do, again, you've seen this slide before, but CAHME does not and will not seek to influence the methodology of any media organization with regards to rankings. CAHME will not ask programs if they want to opt out of the US News and World Report rankings. That's not something that we will ask of you. US News comes to us and says, we need the list of accredited programs, and we provide it. Our responsibility, which is to serve the public purpose, is to provide the legitimate press the information requested that's publicly available. Inform them of the sources and give context to the data. This information is available on CAHME.org, except for the secondary contact, which we explained, which will help you along in that process. We are responsible for ensuring that when a list says CAHME accredited programs, only CAHME accredited programs are on the list. If you want to be removed, and there may be people out there who say, I want to go off that list, do not call me. CAHME cannot get you removed. If you want to be removed, contact U.S. News and World Report. The survey is conducted by U.S. News and World Report. If you don't get the survey, don't call me. I don't send the emails out about the survey. Call U.S. News and World Report. If one person gets it, not the others. Well, last time people were calling me and going, I wasn't getting the survey, and they found it in their junk folder. But again, this is a U.S. News and World Report survey. Contact U.S. News and World Report if you're not receiving copies of the survey. We're not responsible for the delivery of the email, the methodology, or the dates of implementation of the survey. Now, with regards to healthcare quality and safety programs, we worked with U.S. News over the past year, and what they agreed to do is to create a specialty filter for healthcare quality and safety programs. And that filter has to have, by U.S. News and World Report, a minimum of 5 programs. So U.S. News agreed to create a specialty filter for healthcare quality and safety, and there needs to be 5 programs that make up that list. We don't have 5 healthcare quality and safety programs at this point. We have 4. We're expecting the 5th to be accredited. They're going for a site visit in the fall, and we're expecting them to be accredited sometime next year if all goes well. But that will not be in time for this list. When we reach 5 accredited healthcare quality and safety programs, they will be added to the database. Some of you know we also have population health management. No POP health management programs are currently accredited now. When they do become accredited, we will again stick with that reach of getting 5 programs. This was approved by the CAHME board on Saturday, August 10th, 2024. It was a beautiful Saturday, and we spent a couple hours kind of discussing and debating this. But this is a board decision at this point. CAHME data used by U.S. News and World Report. We provide a list of universities with accredited programs and 2 main contacts for each universities. Universities with multiple CAHME accredited programs will be listed once. Universities with multiple accredited programs, like an executive program and a residential program, or an executive program and a hybrid program, they will be listed just once. The only exception that we know of at this point is Boston University. And Boston University has 2 separately accredited programs, one in their School of Public Health and one in their School of Business. They are accredited on different cycles. They are really, in essence, 2 different programs. BU will be listed in there twice, one for their business school and one for their public health. All other programs, no matter how many different programs you have in there, will be listed just once. Each university gets 2 votes. Each university gets 2 votes. If you're Boston University, you get 2 votes. Regardless of having 2 different schools, you get 2 votes. If you're University of Michigan, you get 2 votes. Every university gets 2 votes. Again, CAHME does not and will not seek to influence the methodology of U.S. News and World Report with regards to rankings. So with that, let me kind of move it over to Michelle, and she'll tell you what you need to do within the annual report editor. Michelle?
Thanks, Anthony. Okay, so today I'm just going to quickly show you what you need to do in CAHME's annual report editor, also known as CARE, to ensure that the correct contact information is given to U.S. News and World Report. So just a quick overview. First in CARE, you will be verifying that your university name and school name is correct. Once again, most of you have this information in your CARE profile, but you just need to ensure that it is accurate. Second, you will be verifying that the program director contact information is also correct. And in this case, the email is the most important because this is how US News and World Report will contact you for the survey. And then third, the secondary contact information. You will update or verify if you already have it in the secondary contact information. And once again, each university will have 2 contacts provided. Excellent. Okay, so how do you get to CARE? So accessing CAHME's annual report editor. You will just simply go to CAHME's website, CAHME.org, and in the upper right-hand corner, select Program Logins. And then at the bottom of that drop-down menu, you will select CARE. And then you'll be directed to the CARE login page, enter your login credentials, and you'll access your program's CARE profile. Awesome. Okay, so once you access your CARES profile, you will go to section 1, program description. Now in this section, you will verify that question 1, university name, and then question 5, school name are indeed correct. If any changes are needed, you just make those changes by clicking the orange pen icon, make that change, and then save the data by clicking the blue Save button at the bottom of the section. Now, for program contact information, you'll scroll down to section 9, contact information. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll verify that the program director contact information is accurate. Once again, most of you have this information in. Just make sure to verify or update anything that is needed. Make sure the prefix, first name, last name, suffix, title, phone, and email are entered. Once again, the email is the most important. It's the main way that US News will get in contact with you. Okay, and then on the right-hand side of the screen, this is the secondary contact information. So once again, enter this information, make sure it's accurate, especially the email address. Now, to simplify this process for programs with multiple tracks, and therefore those programs have multiple CARE profiles, you'll only enter the secondary contact information in one profile. So shortly after, and I think I've already contacted some of you, shortly after this information session, I will contact those programs with multiple CARE profiles and indicate which CARE profile to enter the secondary information in. If you feel like you're one of those programs and you didn't hear from me, just reach out. And then on August 30th, so yeah, once again, quick turnaround, but on August 30th, I'll be sending confirmation emails to all programs. And this email is just to simply confirm that the basic program information, such as university name, school name, program director, contact information, as well as secondary contact information is indeed accurate. Just quickly read over the email, ensure the data is correct, and only respond if the email needs, if any of the information needs edits or revisions are needed. I'll then update that information. And just a reminder, this data needs to be complete and verified by Friday, September 6th by 5 p.m. Okay, and just once again, a quick review of the timeline. August 5th, US News contacted CAHME that the rankings will be annual. And then on August 12th, August 19th, we notified you about this update. And then today, August 23rd, we have this information session for program directors. Then on August 6th, this is when the program information needs to be complete to CAHME. On September 11th, we will provide the info to US News and World Report. And then once again, we don't know the time frame, but like last time, December is when US News and World Report sent the survey. And then the following spring, so in this case, spring 2025, US News and World Report released the rankings. Okay, and here's my contact information. Reach out if you have any questions. And with that said, let me introduce CAHME's board chair, Dr. Benki Alatosi.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I just wanted to reiterate, the board listened to some of the issues that came up from last year. and decided to act on it and provided guidance on this approach that the board has accepted. And we thought it was a very fair approach, but we wanted to communicate that to the field to let everybody know what was the thinking that the board had. And like Anthony had mentioned, since a U.S. News and World Report allows for a specialty designation when there are at least 5 programs, we thought then it was only fair that the HQS programs will go into that designation once they reach 5. So again, to reinforce, they will not be added to this current list until they get to their own designated number when they will be then reported to U.S. News and World Report. So we use that to let the field know that we heard your voices and we had robust discussion. Like Anthony mentioned, we had to group together on a Saturday with different time zones and had very robust discussions on the way forward. And the board came to the conclusion that this was the fairest way forward, paying attention to what the field was saying. So I felt it was important to come on here and personally share that with you. And again, reiterate that the board is listening and the board will continue to listen to the field and respond as needed. So with that, I'm going to transfer this back to Anthony for him to close and then we'll go to questions. Anthony?
Thank you, Bank. So with that, just to kind of quickly review what we talked about, we gave you an update on the U.S. News and World Survey. We took a look at some of the history and process of what U.S. News does. We talked about how do you enter a second contact and verify the information. We also kind of discussed why that's important for you to enter that second contact, and that CAHME goes over and above what most other accreditors do in providing that secondary contact. There's also, for more information about this process, including FAQs, the U.S. News methodology, videos, and then eventually this recording, if you want to watch it over and over again, that will be on www.cahme.org/US News. So that will be out there for everyone. So with that, I'm going to take a quick look at the chat session. So the first question that came up is, are there restrictions from Michael Richards? Are there restrictions on who is eligible to fill out the survey? And Michael, there aren't. You can give us 2 people from, whoever you want to give us in there. One of them will be you as the program director, and the second one is you can pick whoever you want. Paula, you ask, will all health-related graduate programs be ranked annually now, or is this healthcare management specific? Great question, Paula. Again, what we're going to do is for this year, it will be the traditional healthcare management programs, the healthcare quality and safety programs. We do not yet have 5 to create that specialty filter for them. And so they won't be in the ranking.
Sorry.
Once we hit 5 with them, then we'll go forward.
Clarification. I meant, are all the other programs like pharmacy, nurse anesthesia, will they also now be on an annual rankings cadence? Or do you know if this annual rankings is only applying to healthcare management? Great
question, Paul. I don't. They didn't share that with me. I'm not sure. What Bob had said to me was the healthcare management programs are one of their most highly viewed programs on their website. And that's why they're doing health management annually. I'm not sure about the others.
Okay, thank you.
Hal Morgan asked, you asked when will the confirmation email be sent? I think Michelle covered that. And Michelle, the date when you're sending the confirmation of who that's going out, was it September?
It'll be August 30th. I'll send those emails out, but everything should be in by September 6th.
September 6th. Okay.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. And let me open it up if anyone has any other questions.
Yeah, sorry, I have a real quick one. This is Chris. Sorry, I'm off screen today. I do have my second contact in the care in the residential program, but in the hybrid one, I don't have anything listed. Do I have to have it listed in both places, or will you just pick it up from our primary residential one?
Just the residential is perfect.
Thank you.
Good question, though. Thanks, Chris. I have to kind of tip my hat there to Michelle. Michelle kind of came up with that approach to kind of keep it simpler, because we did used to have the secondary contact and other ones, but we've actually started to turn it off for programs. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you all for your time today. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope if you have any questions, please let me know. But, we're here to answer any specific questions that you have around this process, and happy to address them with you. So thanks, everyone.